So today we're going to be talking about time, but today specifically we're going to be talking about elapsed time. And elapsed time talks about the time from when something starts all the way until something ends and how long that takes in between. So we're using two different types of ways to figure out elapsed time. The first one is a clock, and the second one is a number line. But we're going to be using it in increments of time, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first start with the clock, and I'm going to give us a starting time. So let's say something is starting at 2 o'clock. My shorthand points to the 2. My long minute hand points to 12. So that says 2 o'clock. Now let's say that Miss Molina is having a Zoom lunch with Mrs. Beal and Mrs. Niemeyer. And I told you that it took us 35 minutes to eat and chit chat about our day. So with our starting time at 2 o'clock was when we got on, and 35 minutes was how long our lunch was. When did it end? So we're going to start at our 12 because that's where our minute hand is right now, and we're going to do 35 minutes more and see where our minute hand ends, okay? So we'll start with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So my minute hand will end on the 7. So if our meeting started at 2 o'clock, 35 minutes later is 2:35. All right, we're going to try another one using our clock. Let's say that we're starting at 3, shorthand on the 3, 10. So let's say at 3:10, you are going to go outside and maybe go on a hike with your family. So at 3:10, you left for the hike. You went on the hike for 50 minutes, and that's when you came back. So if we're starting at 3:10 and we're going to add 50 minutes, I can count by fives on my big numbers and see where we're going to end, all right? So we start at 3:10, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So you are ending at the 12. Now, if I start at 3:10 and I worked my way all the way back to o'clock, I know that my hour just changed from 3:10 to 4 o'clock. So we moved past the 3 o'clock hour, and now we are at 4 o'clock. That's what happened when we added 50 minutes. Now let's have our new starting time of 4 o'clock. And let's say that you and your family want to go outside and chalk, and you want to chalk for an hour and 10 minutes. Now, if I'm using an hour, I actually don't need to go around and count each minute. I'm just going to go ahead and add my next hour, but it's an hour plus 10 minutes. Now, if I'm adding 1 hour, I go just from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. That's 1 hour later. Now, if I'm also adding 10 minutes, I need to move my minute hand an extra 10 minutes. So 5, 10. So I'm going to move my minute hand. So you went outside to start chalking at 4 o'clock, and an hour and 10 minutes later, you're at 5:10. All right? I'm going to show you this same thing on now the analog clock and on a number line, and we're going to kind of talk about those things. So let's come up with a new scenario. Our new scenario will be, how about you getting ready for dinner? So let's say you finished all of your schoolwork at 4:30. I want you to notice something. I know that I said 4, but I put it right in between 4 and 5. Our hour hand moves super slow throughout the whole time the minute hand makes its way around the clock. So 4:30, our hour hand is exactly between the 4 and the 5, okay? So let's say we're starting at 4:30. On my number line, I'm going to mark at the beginning, because this is going to be the start of our time, as 4:30, okay? And let's say while you're getting ready for dinner, it takes you 30 minutes to clean up all of your stuff, put it away, and get your space all ready. So I'm going to be adding 30 minutes. On my number line, I'm going to jump 30 minutes plus 30 minutes. Now, if you're really quick at time already, you know that if we add 30 minutes, which we can still count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, we're going from 4:30 all the way to 5 o'clock. So I'm going to change my time here. And so on my number line, I can add that it's now 5 o'clock. And then let's say that it's your job to set the table and to get everything ready and to set the table. It takes you another 16 minutes. So we're going to jump, not as much as the first jump, that was 30 minutes. We're going to add 16 more. And then on my clock, I'm going to add 16, 5, 10, 15, and I just need to go one more tick over to 16. So by the time you are ready for dinner, it is now 5:16. Okay? So that's going to be a lot of your assignments today, is to either try this with your analog clock or using a number line to help you walk through time. The hour, you just need to move the hour hand, and it's an hour plus minutes, you're doing hour hand and minutes. And then sometimes it's only asking you to do minutes. So you're just going to be counting and getting all the way and adding those minutes up. Something I want you to keep in mind is when you pass the 12, the hour changes. So if I were to pass the 12 and maybe go 50 minutes, it would end me at the 1. I'm going to have to change the hour. We're not going from 5:16 to 5:05. That doesn't make any sense. So we're going to have to add that extra hour every time we pass the 12. So I want you to watch out for that today. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.